The Mercedes Formula One team has revealed that it's already began, in their own words, finding really big steps of performance at its factory, after having committed to a new change of direction in its Formula One car approach for the season. This comes after a couple of opening lackluster rounds to the 2023 championship, where they have come to the realization that their zero-pod concept is just not going to cut it. Toto Wolff's statement alludes that Red Bull inspired this new design, and he even made a couple of jokes saying that Red Bull might as well put a sticker on their car after the changes are over. But can these changes do anything radical, as Toto said after the Bahrain Grand Prix, or will all just be a desperate attempt at saving the season? Stick around to the end of the video. Now that the team has agreed to its action plan, which will cause the entire concept to change as they move away from the zero-pod design, they know it will take a long time to make the progress they think they need to make to be fighting at the front. But Mercedes has given both Lewis Hamilton and George Russell some good science as a form of encouragement. Some of Mercedes' early changes will be focused on side pods, but the final concept change will go much deeper than that and includes things like the step-up window and ride height. Most of the grid seems to be moving towards the Red Bull downwash idea, which works with the current rules, so it's likely that Mercedes will also move in that direction, even if it's not an exact copy. In the past, Mercedes thought that its best chance of being the fastest in F1 was to come up with its own design ideas first. However, Wolff has said that the company should now focus on taking the path that gives the best results. And if that means sticking with the Red Bull design, he is sure that the team will do that. He even joked that he wouldn't mind putting a sticker from one of his competitors on the car as a credit. "I think at this stage, we have no dogmatism of how the car should look like," explained Wolff. "It just needs to be the quickest possible race car. And if that car looks like a Red Bull or like SpaceX, I don't care. It just needs to be quick. And if it's a Red Bull, we will put a little bull somewhere with a sticker, and I will have no shame if it's quick." Toto Wolff's comments made us wonder what the team has been up to during the off-season, because they show that they were sure and had no doubt that the zero-pod idea was going to be it for them. They were sure that the zero-design product would put them back in the lead this season. But it makes no sense to take only one path. Didn't they ever think, during the off-season, let's try some simulations with the other cars? Let's see if we get any bigger gains from doing that, and then, compare them with their zero-pod, since they had so much data from the 2022 season to compare with anything they would have been running. Just being so narrow-minded and focused on your own design is not a good way to approach a season where you have to chase a team like Red Bull. You have to look at things from every angle, and maybe Toto's statement doesn't show the whole picture of what they did. But based on what he said about finding big gains, it seems right away that the team only worked on the zero-pod design and didn't do any simulations with the other car concepts that they saw worked well for Red Bull and, to a lesser extent, Alpine last season. This would mean that some team members' heads would have to roll because they were in important positions in the management structure. Throughout the whole season, you could see that your car wasn't even close to being competitive with the rest of the field, let alone with Red Bull and Ferrari. And that you only had what you thought was the fastest car at one Grand Prix weekend, and that was in Brazil. So that's one weekend out of 22. That's not a good number to go off of when designing a car like the W14 as a follow-up. It's very interesting to think about whether or not what Toto said is true, and how he said it. Of course, while much of the focus of concept talk at the team has revolved around the change of how the car is going to look to the eye, notably with the change in side pod designs, with them now seemingly been going down the route of the Red Bull, this actually isn't the main point of this change. The main point of the change of direction for Mercedes relates more to the setup window of where the W14 runs in, with relations to the ground. Wolff suggests that the lessons of Aston Martin, which abandoned its own original idea at the start of 2022 to go down the Red Bull route, shows the potential that there is to make improvements after committing to a change of direction. Definitely what Aston Martin has done proves that you can gain so much lap time that it makes you play very much at the front. So that is good to see. It is good to see for all of us that you should never write off a season if these kinds of steps can be done. While much of the focus on the new direction has revolved around the side pods, Wolff says that the key factor is the holistic approach to where the car is run relative to the track and how it is set up. I think the biggest changes that we made is actually looking at where we want to have the car set up in its sweet spot, he said. We've been too low last year, we've been too high this year. And now we believe we know what to land on. Obviously, everything else follows in terms of floor and bodywork that you want to achieve. So I don't want to sound foolishly optimistic, but at least we see low-hanging fruit with things that are encouraging. So, as it was hinted, all of the changes made to the car for the next 5 to 7 races have to do with the setup window and how low they can run the car. Toto Wolff went on to say that the car will look very different, but the only reason for this is that the aerodynamic surface will be more visible. With the ground effect car, there will be a lot of stuff on the floor, and there are also a lot of architectural changes that need to be made to make things work better. So, right now, the car is literally being turned upside down, and they see a lot of goodness in it. Lewis Hamilton, on the other hand, stated that giving Mercedes' Formula One car, the W14, side pods like Red Bull's would not make it better and might even make it go slower. Hamilton finished 5th at Sunday's Saudi Arabian Grand Prix, behind teammate George Russell. Sergio Perez and Max Verstappen won the race, making it Red Bull's second 1-2 finish in as many races this season. Hamilton says he doesn't expect any updates from Mercedes that will change the game. He said that the team should work together, and while he always likes to be right, but not always is, in this situation he was. Even George Russell has given similar comments, explaining that their weakness is simply lack of downforce. But he believes that they are working in the right direction. According to Mike Elliott, technical director of Mercedes, the meaning of catching up can vary from person to person. After the Bahrain race, the team realized that they were not where they wanted to be and had to analyze all the aspects that make up their car to determine what changes could be made to improve performance. This involves engineers looking into the car's aerodynamics, shape, side pod, and floor geometry, and other areas that may have been overlooked. The team is also reviewing their simulation process to ensure that they are targeting the right areas for improvement, including the mechanical setup of the car. They are determined to find any missing elements that can contribute to better performance as quickly as possible, because they want to return to the front and be competitive again. The team understands that accepting their current position and working hard to get back to where they want to be is the only way to achieve success. What do you think? Can Mercedes bounce back with the new design inspired by Red Bull? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below, and see you in the next video!